So, hi guys, welcome to yet another amazing episode of Mancast Podcast, our very first video episode 2025. We are going to be doing more of this video episode, so stay tuned. Today, I'm joined by a very interesting guest, or rather, we are joined by a very interesting guest. I'll give her an opportunity to introduce herself and tell her who she is. So, why are you here? tell us a bit about yourself.
Well, for starters, why I'm here for the free lunch that comes after this.
Touche. Yeah.
Jokes aside, my name is Lesley Rugumi. I am many things, but by most rights, I'm just a girl.
You're just a girl. You're trying to be modest. Guys, if I tell you who this person is, you'll feel like an underachiever. So I don't know what to say. Let her introduce herself better. Go deeper into who you really are so that people out there can actually understand more about you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, professionally, I am a civil engineer.
Yes.
And with a specific focus in public-private partnerships and project management.
Right.
I am also an entrepreneur. I run an architectural and construction company called Teyvat Africa Limited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're a rapper. You say public. That's so much vocabulary inside there, but that's really amazing. And engineering is such a male-dominated industry. So could you tell us why engineering and how you feel being a woman in such a male-dominated industry?
Well, I'll start with why engineering.
Yes.
So my story and my parents is very different. So I'll take you way back from when I was a child. Just like every other child in the Republic of Kenya, I wanted to be a doctor.
Right. And
my parents tend to disagree. They believe that I've always wanted to be an engineer.
Yeah.
And this is because I would always, when they'd buy me toys, I would always tear them apart and then always try and fix them. Always try to find random solutions to the weirdest
Did you ever get like dead frogs outside and try and fix them?
Absolutely not. And maybe that's when I should have given up on being a doctor.
Right.
I am very keen on letting anyone else wants to dissect their frogs to dissect them far from where I am. I prefer my things unalive.
Yes.
So yeah, from my earliest memory, I was gifted for my preschool graduation. My parents gifted me those Lego blocks. So I remember building them so often, and I would always build the most insane things, not just the things that are on the carton box, giving you ideas on what to build. So I would say that's where my love for engineering might have begun.
Right.
Going into high school, I still thought I wanted to be a doctor. And then is when I realized that being a doctor means you actually have to treat people.
Yeah.
For some reason, that didn't really cross my mind. Somehow, I didn't think that you have to treat people, see people when they're sick. So I gave up on that dream.
It's just a title. You're just a doctor.
I don't even know what I thought.
Yeah.
It didn't cross my mind that you have to take care of people when they're sick and no.
Yeah.
So right now, in hindsight, I would have just cried with the patient. So
right.
yeah, I guess
that's
everything worked out for good.
Yeah.
So later, after high school, I now went on that path of choosing what course to do, and I went the spiritual route. So I prayed over what I wanted to do.
Right.
And by the time I finished high school, I knew two things. The first thing is that I didn't want to become a doctor.
Okay,
definitely not. And the second thing is that I loved maths and sciences. So I chose, or rather, I went down a list of courses and prayed about each one of them, and was fully convicted to do civil engineering.
Yeah, that's very profound. Because not everyone, actually not everyone, most people would not go that direction. And you have been known what you actually want to do by the time you're finished. For most of us, it's let me try this year, jaribu kesho, until you actually find what you are meant to do. And so you have been prayed about it and having a list and discovering that this is exactly what I want to do and what God wants me to do is actually very profound. So that's very interesting. Teyvat Africa. So tell us a little bit about what that is.
Well, Teyvat Africa Limited, as I mentioned, is an architectural and construction company.
Yes.
So what we do, basically, if you want to build a home, a hotel, a resort, any kind of
still architecture.
We can walk you through it.
Right.
Yes. So what we do is we take you through the process from start to end. From that concept that you have, we take you through the architectural design process, the approval processes, the construction process until you get the final key of your property.
Yes.
So basically guide you through the entire process.
That's very interesting. So where did this dream begin? Where did you feel like I actually need to start with Teyvat?
Well, so officially Teyvat was registered 3 years ago. But I have been doing the dealings of Teyvat from when I was in campus, surprisingly. And it started with just doing designs. I've always been passionate about seeing things that I am doing coming to life. It's so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling seeing, in a house that you just designed and then seeing it's come all the way up and people are living in it. It's
Nayanguki.
We don't do that here.
Right.
Yeah. So when I was in campus, someone believed in me. They saw how good I was at what I do. And they trusted me, and I was able to have my first client then. I designed their property, the building was built, and it was built to completion. And the fulfillment I got from there was such an amazing thing, just seeing a concept actually come to life. And so I registered the company down the line. After you've gotten several clients, now at some point you have to get serious.
That's true. It kind of pushes you to become better.
Yes. Wow. So it's landed there.
Wow. So after your first design and now you can see it's done, so how did that whole feeling feel like? Like, can you describe it in a few words?
Fulfilling and also shocking. I'm like, I don't know who are these who are trusting children when they're in campus.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. But I'm grateful that that first client had a belief in me. Because otherwise I don't think I would have thought that much about it. It would have just been a student doing fun things like building designs, But I think ever since it's been such a beautiful journey knowing that person trusted in me. And every time I get new clients, and with new clients come new challenges. I started with houses, then now clients want resorts, clients want hotels, clients want these amazing things. And our approach has always been with so much creativity. I'm a very creative person. So when we're doing the designs in Teyvat, it's been almost magical when you're able to incorporate the most absurd things. And also something I'm very passionate about, or rather nature. You see how homes in Karen look like, or in the leafy suburbs, as they like to call it. Where there's a lot of plants and beauty. So that's the approach that Teyvat takes. We ensure that regardless of what you'd want constructed, we incorporate a lot of nature. So it's very fulfilling. When you step out, it's less of a concrete jungle and more of you being one with nature, even at the comfort of your home or at the comfort of your resort. And
wow, that's really amazing. I noticed that you kept saying we do this, we do that. So technically that means there's a team behind Teyvat. Could you tell us a little bit about how you brought this team together and how all of you get to work together in symphony?
Okay, that's very interesting, because that has been one of the most I'd like to say challenging things when it comes to running Teyvat. Finding a team of people who actually believe in the vision as much as you do and have similar conviction, because I would say part of my conviction when it comes to Teyvat is not seeing my country become a concrete jungle. That's part of why we'd want to make designs that are very biophilic in nature, like you're very in tune with nature. And
we said biophilic. Could you describe that? What's biophilic?
It's exactly that. Biophilic designs are designs that incorporate nature. So pretty much.
Biophilic. Start using that word around. Let's continue this biophilic Mancast Podcast.
At least I've left something behind. If you had nothing else from the podcast, you had biophilic.
That's nice.
So when choosing a team, it's been really working with people, with like-minded people, like-minded team of architects, like-minded team of engineers, like-minded team of people who also challenge you to think outside the box. And as we continue to grow this beautiful company.
Right, that's amazing. Now that you started talking about challenges, so are there challenges that you faced? How have you been able to, plow through those challenges? And are you still facing challenges at the moment?
Oh yes.
Yes.
Challenges are on a day-to-day.
Yeah.
Specifically with running Teyvat, one of the craziest. You see, when you're dealing as an individual, when you're doing these businesses, it's just you talking to the client and you're an individual. There's less structure. No, I thought that that's what I'll carry on when now the company transitions to being Teyvat Africa Limited.
Yeah.
The ballgame is completely different. Okay. For it to grow, it needs to have proper structures, and that was something that was still is to some degree one of the challenges that I've been facing.
Yes.
So you have to ensure that your structures are constantly working, the structures that put in place are effective, and that not only ensure that the company is running smoothly, it enables the company to also grow. Because you also don't want to have a company that's at the same level when you start it.
Out, throughout.
Yes. And then also another challenge is the team, which is what we've talked about. I've had situations where you've not had very good, or rather people who are not aligned with the same vision.
Yeah.
So when that alignment is not there, it's a bit
That's what you
harder. Not necessarily. Not necessarily had to let them go, but in the process, if you're in the middle of several projects and there's a team member or team members who are not aligning, are not moving in the same direction, it can really delay a project or really frustrate a project. So that's one of
the challenges that you guys face.
That's some of the challenges.
Right.
And tax. Friends, get your tax in order. Friends. Yes, ensure you have your financials in order. Learn how to do these things from the beginning. Yeah,
actually agree with you. It's very important to have that in place, because you find that many young people want to do things, but if you're not doing it the right way, especially when it comes to registration, tax, and so on and so forth, it becomes a problem later on. So guys, you had that kwanza tu kampuni, you have to know the dynamics behind it, and you have to understand the actually structures that work. Na serikali iko na mkono mrefu, kwa hivyo kwenye tu utakuwa umejificha itakupata hapo. So thank you for that reminder. So young people out there, tax it's good. Tax is good, isn't it? I know it's not the best thing to
for the benefit
do.
Of our republic.
You're not going to be happy paying tax, but at the end of the day, pay your tax. Hata Yesu alisema,
give to Caesar what
give
belongs
to Caesar. Exactly. Yeah, so that's really amazing. We love your journey so far. It's very inspiring, and I'm getting a lot from what you're saying. Honestly, I can say I'm being inspired, especially when you talked about the vision and having a team that you can work together with, because people undermine the ability to actually work with other people, especially in your industry, in my industry as well, because you find people have different personalities, people have different understanding of things. Some are introverts, some are extroverts, some are hardworking, some are lazy, but they still get the work done some way. And speaking of personality, could you tell us what your personality is?
You'd have to elaborate a little bit on that.
Yes.
Do you mean introvert, extrovert?
Introvert, extrovert. Does it affect you in your work? Have you gotten yourself in a place where you have to adjust the person who you really are to just make sure that Teyvat works?
Oh, very much.
Yes.
No. I in form of introvert, extrovert, I would still align to being an ambivert, right in the middle.
Right.
Because I tend to be more comfortable around people I am more comfortable around, my close friends, my family. And in unfamiliar situations, my first thought is to cinch back, to move back.
Kunyamaza, kutulia.
Yeah. So until you read the environment and see where you lie.
Right.
But with running a business and just generally, let me start with, a piece of statement that I really resonate with. Feel the fear, do it anyway.
Okay, say that again, so that for the people at the back who didn't hear that one.
Feel the fear, do it anyway.
Yes.
So it's one of those things, even if you feel uncomfortable, sometimes you have to reason beyond the discomfort. What do you want at the end of the day? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to gain out of it?
Yeah.
And even for just in general, every single situation in life, not just about business, sometimes you have to do uncomfortable things so that you're able to get to where you want to get to.
Right.
So when it comes to personality, I definitely have to do the most uncomfortable things, like talk to people who I might not ideally talk to,
have interacted with
in the first place. Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So, and I'm keen on that. Sometimes it even has to be intentional, like being around a community that are conversing around business or whatever the dynamic might be.
Yes. Wow, that's really amazing. And that kind of links us to our next question, which is more about mental health. Yeah. So personality and mental health actually go together. And in your day-to-day work at Teyvat, what aches you, what drains you, what depresses you, what stresses you out? Yeah.
This is a bit sensitive, but what stresses me out sometimes is I'd go back again to the team, the people.
Yeah.
Now, having multiple people in a team who are doing varied things, and people with different personalities, and yourself, you have your own personality.
Yeah.
It can be, sometimes it can feel like one of the hardest and the murkiest waters to tread.
Right.
Yes, because myself, I'll give an example. I am very cutthroat. I like things done quickly. I like them done effectively, and I like them done perfectly and in a certain kind of way.
Yes.
And then there's someone else who just wants to get it done. If we've agreed that it needs to be done by the end of the day, it will be done at the end of the day.
Right, yeah.
But for me, I would prefer if it's at the end of the day, let's work with two.
Yeah.
So it can be, I think the people management is where I've really had to learn to stretch myself, because it can be very frustrating mentally, and not because the other person is on the wrong or anything. It's just because you come from your own train of thought. You expect things to be done a certain kind of way, and then if they're done differently, you tend to feel overwhelmed or frustrated or
Okay. Wow. So what you just said is very, very profound. And are there any other mental health issues that you would talk about?
Yeah, quite a bit. Another thing that can be a cause of frustration is really things that are outside your control. And I think, especially when it comes to the actual construction, there's so many players. There's so many players, and some things are just outside of your control. So
players,
coming
you mean
to town,
conmen? What kind of
not necessarily, not necessarily, but like things. There's so many moving parts in construction. There's materials.
Okay, makes sense.
There's people. There's materials. There's the supplier.
I promise I'm smart.
We believe you.
Yeah.
There's so many moving parts, and I think one of the biggest lessons I'm learning, or I've had to learn, is that some things are just outside of your control. It's okay that it's outside of your control. So that's one of the lessons that has been grueling, especially for me, who enjoys having some degree of control over situations.
All right. So matters mental health again. So do you remember an instance where you were actually very overwhelmed that it affected your work performance? Can you be able to trace back to such a situation?
Oh, very much so.
Tell us about it.
And it just so happened that it was a combination of all the above. Things outside of my control, and also teammates. So I think one of the biggest, the client has certain expectations of when the project had to be presented, and of course now you align the team to the expectations of the client. And in that process, so many, how do I call it? There was a lot of mismatches with the things outside of my control, mismatches with the team, everything just happened at the same time. So all these problems came in that one project at the exact same time. There's this, I think it is Murphy's law, that says everything that could go wrong will go wrong. So it was one of those, and I think for that season I just broke down. You break down, you just close everything and you agree, fine, it's completely out of my control. This will come out of testing. Wow.
That's where everything just happens all together.
Yes. Oh, wow. So but eventually we were able to have a common understanding. We were able to have much better and more doable timelines. And eventually we delivered as well. We delivered in the quality that was expected and even better. But the process before then, it was grueling. Yes, I quit Teyvat several times. I was done. This entrepreneurship is not for everyone.
Teyvat ilitoka wapi? Where did this come from?
So the name Teyvat. Yes. Well, Teyvat is actually a Greek name.
A Greek name. Okay. How did you land in Greece? Greece iko wapi? Ethiopia, Egypt, Indian Ocean. CG geography is very much. Tell us about Greece.
Oh no, my company is taking territories, so even Greece is small. We are thinking worldwide.
Love the face,
Yes. So Teyvat is a Greek word that means ark, like Noah's Ark.
Right.
So Noah's Ark is actually one of my favorite portions of scripture, and this is because when I was joining,
which part, the 2x2, the entire.
No, I promise it has nothing to do with 2x2.
Okay.
It's about the ark in and of itself.
Yes.
So when Noah was building the ark, Noah had no known construction knowledge.
Right.
And I could see how God was able to guide him portion by portion. And when I was joining engineering school, that was one of the scriptures that held me throughout the time that I was in school.
Yes.
Because God was so meticulous. Every single measure he gave to Noah, and someone who had non-existent construction knowledge was able to build this thing that could carry the whole of creation. So to me, I draw back from that, knowing that there's a lot of knowledge that I acquire from a much greater engineer than myself.
Yes.
So that's where the name came from, and I hold on to that.
And thinking about it, Noah only had like his sons to help out in the whole building of the structure. And looking at the dimensions mentioned there, today I feel like only, 100 people can put that off. It would be a very difficult task. And what you just said points out to the ability of even believing in the vision God has given you, and even believing in yourself and just moving on with faith, because Noah had all the excuses that I can't do this, I've never done this before, and he's getting into, actually Noah had everything against him, and now all this is happening, and that's such a very deep point of reference for Teyvat. Guys, you've had that. That's really amazing. Yes. So in Teyvat, the whole engineering field is very much male dominated, and that can be a bit intimidating, at least for me. I think so. So what would you say about that?
Well, the engineering field, I'd never considered engineering to be male dominated when I first joined. I guess it's one of those things that don't cross your mind. It's just a course that you really want to do, and a course that you really believe in. So when I joined campus, I wouldn't say that it was dominant then. I didn't notice that as well. Granted, we were fewer ladies in class. But friends, when I finished campus, that's when I finally got to see how male dominated the field is. Especially with our older counterparts, the people who've been civil engineers longer, they're mostly men. because women have only taken up engineering as the years went by, or rather in bigger numbers.
Nafikiri ni kazi ya mjengo labda.
Yeah. That's something that also we can promise engineers are not fundis. Can assure you.
Right.
So
point of correction, see mafundi, how they are engineers, they are professionals, they learn it. Yes.
Yes, very much so. So now in the field, you'll actually get to notice. Well, for myself, I wouldn't say that I personally feel any less of an engineer being a woman.
Yes.
Because, well, it's not bragging if it's true.
Sure.
It's not bragging if it's true. I would think that I'm above the curve even in the workplace. So it doesn't really reflect on my gender. If you're giving out good produce, if the output is good, it will be good whether you're female or you're male. But the problem comes in the softer matters. If a lady is in charge of a project, the perception might be that maybe it won't be done to the same magnitude that it would have been done if a man is doing it. Or if you present an idea and a man says the exact same thing, maybe the man's it sounds more, it just sounds, maybe it's the voice. Maybe it's the voice, because we can assure you it's not the brains or the functionality. It might be the voice.
Yes. I feel like it takes a lot of believing in yourself to get to a place where you can see what you can see with your eyes. It's not like it's not happening, it's actually out there. There are more males in this industry, but being, head high and saying I can actually do this.
Yes.
And not just believing and actually going ahead and doing it. So that's very commendable.
Thank
you. Speaking of that, you can maybe talk to a young lady out there who feels overwhelmed. Maybe the kind of career they want to pursue, they feel like it's not something that is traditionally a woman's kind of job, and maybe they're afraid and they don't know what to look up to or what to expect. So talk to that.
I think I'll face them for this one. But ladies, or anyone for that matter, not just specific to ladies, if you'd like to do a course or just do anything for that matter, do it. This world is much bigger than gender or roles or what people think. Just wake up in the morning and do what you desire to do. That thing that gives you the most fulfillment. You want to be an engineer and there's 100 engineers and you'll be the first lady, do it. You'll be the first lady who will thrive at it. And I believe that you'll see yourself doing the most remarkable exploits. There's nothing different. The same way you're a man is the same way you're a man and you're sitting here and you're having a conversation. I'm a woman and I'm sitting here and I'm having a conversation. And being of any gender doesn't limit you to the kind of exploits. The same fingers they have is the same fingers you have. So the same legs, same. So you'll be able to do the same or even greater exploits. Just do what gives your heart the greatest desire and fulfillment. Of course, within the bounds of morality and whatever morality looks like to you, or
All right, Lesley, thank you for sharing that. And I'm sure someone out there has been encouraged, especially the women who are trying to get into their career path and they're trying to understand what they want to do. I feel like this session will actually motivate them and they get bolder. So appreciate you for that.
Yeah.
All right. So we are almost coming to the end of our segment, and I'd want us to do some, I think, a funny game. I don't know whether you're down for that. Yes. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and then you're going to tell me an answer. All right. So Lesley, if you are a superhero, what superhero would you be? What superpower would you want?
There's the truth and then there's what I tell people.
Okay. Tell us the truth. Tell us both. Yeah.
No, I'd actually want to be invisible.
Okay. No, spy watu. Ask you the.
Yeah, and you can disappear. You can, especially if it's by choice. Hey, I would love that.
Okay.
It seems like something I would want. And then you enter rooms and listen to what people are talking about, especially the most influential people for some reason. How do they think at the back of, like, behind closed doors?
Yes.
I would want to hear all that.
That's interesting. So that's the truth about what you tell people.
Oh, no, that's the truth.
Okay, what do you tell people?
I don't think this is that kind of podcast.
Tell us. This is the right space for this.
I plead the fifth. Let's stick with invisibility.
Okay, all right. That will do for now. So Lesley, if you were to make a meal, what meal would you go for right now? And why?
Make a meal.
Yes.
Can someone else make it for me?
No, in this point, it's you making the meal. What would you make?
Right now, I would give minimal effort. I would make a good cup of coffee.
Yes.
And maybe I'm craving, I don't know whether it's called arrowroots. Is it arrowroots?
Yes.
Nduma,
yeah.
That one. I would have.
I should go for misheveve, but it's still cool.
Well, I would use a salad. Actually, yes. I would like to add on to my answer. Yeah. I will have all that. I will have the coffee, an iced latte with a bit of nduma, arrowroots, and then nawaka salad. So nice salad.
All right.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
What's your favorite car?
Favorite car, Land Cruiser.
Land Cruiser. Yeah. Is there a particular reason for that?
I've just always loved Land Cruisers. The 8DX, just Land Cruiser Lord.
Yes. All right. Thanks for sharing that. If you were to travel to a country, what country would you travel to?
Just one.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I would travel to just one. I really love Africa in general. So I'd want to go to every single country in Africa and learn the different cultures. I feel like Africa is very cultured.
Yeah.
I would actually be keen on going to the different cultures in Africa.
Okay.
And then for fun, it seems very deep, but really, I would want to go to multiple first world countries and see how they have done their how they've grown and been able to get to that space. How do they do the infrastructure, how they and not just from the exterior. I want to talk to the actual people who done the things, where their mind, how they reason out things, how they come up with their regulations for things. I would want to hear that. So or sit down with them. I don't know whether that's a form of travel, being able to talk to people from different places.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the best piece of advice someone ever gave you?
Feel the fear, do it anyway. So I live with that every single day.
Yes.
Because I'm constantly afraid of multiple things every single day. But when you weigh out what's most important to you and what you want to achieve, what really matters, I keep reminding myself, feel the fear, do it anyway. Okay.
And what's the best advice you'd give to someone right now?
Feel the fear, do it anyway.
All right, that's such a touche. Good. That's a good one. All right, and yes, we appreciate that you joined us in the podcast. Sadly, we are coming to the end of this segment. We could stay longer. We actually could, but let's do this next time. So thank you so much for coming in to this show. Oh, before I finish, I almost forgot this. Talk to us about your faith and how it's driven you to where you are today, and then you can probably finish.
Well, I would say my faith has been a very big aspect of my life, a very big aspect of my journey in every single situation ever since I came to the said faith.
Yeah.
I am of the Christian faith. I believe in God. Yes. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Holy Spirit. And for me, my faith has been a source of anchorage. I believe in God because I have seen him for myself. I have seen his goodness for myself. It hasn't taken a pulpit. It hasn't taken anyone to preach anything to me. It has been through my own experiences with God and having that personal relationship with God. I've been able to see him in so many aspects of my life. And to me, that's one thing that holds me together. God is my first point of action.
Amazing. That's so encouraging just to hear you reverence God and acknowledge him. It's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So you can maybe give us your social media handles for Teyvat. Where can people find Teyvat? Do you have a website? Do you have a page? Yeah.
Okay, sure. All right. Thank you, first of all, for listening to me. So where you could find us at Teyvat Africa Limited on all platforms, and that's TEYVAT, Teyvat Africa Ltd. So you'll find we do have a website. So Teyvat Africa Limited is the website. Just search that and you'll find us there. You'll find us on all social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Teyvat Africa Limited. Thank you.
Thank you, Lesley. So guys, we've had it. It's been such an amazing podcast. It's been such an honor having you on this show. We hope to have you again and again and again. Yeah, so guys, feel free to comment, to add insights, to ask questions on the podcast. There's a spot on Spotify where there are questions over there. You'll be able to see them and respond them. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye.